In this video, I will mention about some misconceptions about Shia Islam. What are some misconceptions about Shia Islam? There are many, but I will only mention those that are of importance, so it will be clarified. Misconceptions comes from ignorance, and when I state ignorance, I mean without knowledge. These are the misconceptions. That Imam Ali is higher rank in sight of God than Prophet Muhammad. That Imam Ali is seen as God. That Imam Ali and the succeeding Imams for Shia Islam until Imam Mahdi can control the universe and all atoms within. Also that Shia Muslims do not pray 5 prayers in a day. That Shia Muslims break the fast later than prescribed, and that in sujood, meaning the part in prayer where one's forehead is touching the ground, is done differently by Shia Muslims. They put it on clay and not the carpet. Putting one's forehead on the clay and not the carpet is by some Sunni Muslims also seen as worshipping it. A last misconception from some Sunni Muslims towards Shia Muslims is that Shia Islam views all the companions and the wives of Prophet Muhammad as bad people. If we start off with the first one, in Shia books it is clearly stated that Prophet Muhammad is higher status in sight of God than Imam Ali. It is mentioned that Prophet Muhammad is the best among the people, well grounded in knowledge, further that Imam Ali sees himself in the books of Shia Islam as a servant of the messenger. We can also read in Shia books that Prophet Muhammad was the most virtuous creature of God. In another narration within the Shia books, Imam Ali is stating that Prophet Muhammad is above him, so it is not true that Imam Ali is higher status than Prophet Muhammad in Shia Islam. Besides from the evidence shown here in Shia literature, also from a logical perspective, it was the Prophet who taught Imam Ali, so that Imam Ali became his successor, not the other way around. Shia Muslims acknowledge this. Going forward with the second misconception, in Shia Islam there is a hierarchy. God, the creator of everything, his beloved Prophet Muhammad, and then the one who is loved by both God and the Prophet, and for him to also love them, Imam Ali as the third in the chain. How can it be stated then that Imam Ali is God when Shia Islam's view is that God is the first? Totally from Shia Islam, God is the one who has caused everything, including Imam Ali, and nothing is like unto him, as the Quran states, in which Shia Muslims adheres to. From the books of Shia Islam, there is a clear distinguish between who God is and who Imam Ali is. It is explained therein that Imam Ali himself explains who God is. It is asked from someone to him, O Ali, when did your Lord come into existence? So Imam Ali answers this man about who God is and concludes stating about himself that he, in other words, Ali, is only a servant to the messenger of God. In another Shia narration, it states that there is no God but Allah, the one and no one similar to him. So how can one say that Shia Muslims believe that Imam Ali is God? God in sight of Prophet Muhammad and the succeeding Imams from the Prophet's family describes to us who God is and themselves never claim to be God in Shia books. Throughout Shia books, Prophet Muhammad and the succeeding Imams in God's way from Prophet's family, Imam Ali to Imam Mahdi, narrates to us about God, narrations about the oneness of God and the understanding of his essence, attributes and actions. None of these narrations mentions Imam Ali as God. Now, as Shia Muslims also adhere to the Quran, then evidence from the Quran can also be used when we try to understand if Imam Ali is God, and therein it is obvious, as the Shia literatures presented, that God is himself and no one else, the cause of the universe and all life, while everything else is created. Moving forward, is it true that Shia Islam holds this view that the leaders of mankind, the successors to Prophet Muhammad, from Imam Ali to Imam Mahdi, can control the universe and everything within? This is not true at all. In Al-Kafi Volume 1, Hadith 371, it is mentioned that God has 2 kinds of knowledge. There is the hidden, in which only God knows about, and also the knowledge in which God gives to his messengers, prophets, angels, and imams. So from Shia Islam's perspective, the authority of all knowledge is from God. The authority of all is God, and he has a hidden knowledge in which only he knows about. This tells us that Shia Islam believes in the oneness of God, and that God is the main source of knowledge, and that God is the all-knowing, while no one else is. This Shia narration does not contradict the Quran, because God mentions himself in the Quran that there is a knowledge in which only God knows about, but also a knowledge he shares to whom he wills. From the Quran, we know that with the permission of God, Prophet Joseph could interpret dreams. Prophet Solomon could speak with animals and have control over jinns. Prophet Moses could split the sea. Prophet Jesus could heal people and resurrect the dead. It is also mentioned within the Quran that just a servant of God, not a prophet nor a messenger, with little knowledge from God could teleport long distances and come back to the same spot within the blink of an eye. The death angels ask billions of people simultaneously in the grave, and even Shaitan, the devil, has powers from God able to whisper and mislead us. So what I want to come with this is that from God, the Imams to mankind of the Prophet Muhammad can also be given knowledge and power. So if God has given them the ability to have control over much, then this is fully possible with the permission of God. They themselves are not able independently, but due to God they can. An Imam of mankind is someone leading whole mankind, guiding people back to Prophet's way of living. Even Prophet Abraham became this status with God, and they, the Imams of the Prophet Muhammad, have been taught about everything from Prophet Muhammad, the best of creation. So it is definitely not far-fetched to believe that they can get knowledge and power from God firstly, and secondly for them to control the universe and all atoms with the permission of God, and not outside of God or His command. After all, from Quran chapter 27, verse 38 to 40, it is mentioned that only a servant of God, not someone pious as an Imam for mankind, could teleport with little knowledge from God. When it comes to the Imams of the mankind of the Prophet Muhammad, they don't just have little knowledge from God, but much more, since the Prophet taught Imam Ali everything within the Quran for him to be able to teach it to the new people to come, and then for Imam Ali to transfer the Prophet's knowledge to the next successor until Imam Mahdi. Then the Imams can do much more by God because they have much knowledge rather than little. So it is definitely possible that with the command of God, they can control the universe. God allows this for His righteous servants, and it is evidence within the Quran that such a thing is possible. For instance, the angels with the command of God can control the wind, the rain, and much more. We don't see any issues with this. We have to believe in miracles and the unseen. Islam teaches us that we also have a metaphysical world and a spiritual aspect of life, rather than just a materialistic world and physical view of life. So as long as we do not see Ali as God, and as long as we understand that everything mentioned here is by the will of God, then it should be fine. When it comes to the daily prayers, Shia Muslims pray Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha, meaning all the 5 daily prayers. But the 5 daily prayers are divided into 3 times within the day, not 5 times as in the case of Sunni Islam. Now for Shia Muslims, Fajr is prayed alone in the morning before dawn. Dhuhr and Asr are prayed during the day combined, meaning Dhuhr first, then Asr directly after. Lastly, Maghrib and Isha are prayed combined during the night when the sun is no longer visible and it is dark. So in total 5 prayers, 3 times. Why do Shia Muslims combine Dhuhr and Asr and Maghrib and Isha? Why isn't there a long separation between Dhuhr and Asr and Maghrib and Isha as Sunni Muslims do? Firstly, this is a fiqh issue, a jurisprudential issue. A jurisprudential issue is something that can differ even within the same faith. For instance, in Sunni Islam, there is different laws within day-to-day life for a Hanafi follower and a Maliki follower. In prayer, a Maliki follower does not fold their hands while a Hanafi follower folds their hands. But according to Sunni Islam, both jurisprudential guides in Imam Malik and Imam Abu Hanifa is considered correct because this is just teachings about fiqh, while the creed and theology are the same for someone who follows Hanafi or Maliki within Sunni Islam. This means that both a Hanafi and a Maliki adheres to, for instance, Abu Bakr as the first caliph, and that God can be seen in an afterlife. So for a Shia Muslim to pray 3 times a day, but 5 prayers involved in those 3 times, it shouldn't be seen as wrong for Shia Muslims to do so. Otherwise, only one jurist should be correct to take from, whether it is Imam Malik, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Imam Shafi within Sunni Islam, or Imam Jafar as-Sadiq within Shia Islam. So only one out of all that must be correct if we state that Shia Muslims can't pray 3 times a day with 5 prayers, because then who is right and wrong between the rules of, for instance, Imam Malik and Imam Abu Hanifa? The truth is that for all Muslims, as they adhere to different laws even within same faith, in the case of prayer and anything else, we do things slightly different. A side note here is that Imam Jafar as-Sadiq, who is a family member of the Prophet, seen as the 6th Imam for mankind for Shia Islam, is the teacher of both Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Malik. Secondly, the matter of discussing if we should spread the prayers to 5 times or have it in 3 times combined is not something one should tell oneself that if one does this or that, then Shia Islam or Sunni Islam is wrong. Rather, we should discuss more fundamental beliefs first for us, then to conclude how to pray. We cannot have the discussion of how many times during the day we should pray before other essential topics, as we cannot solve a difficult math problem first, but go through the ruling of easier tasks first in solving math problems. When a believer discusses matters with a non-believer about the existence of God, we do not firstly talk about if alcohol is allowed or forbidden. Rather, we take into consideration more essential matters. Thirdly, regarding the 5 daily prayers, Shia Islam's answer to praying 3 times a day is based upon their understanding of the Quran, the traditions of Prophet Muhammad in Shia narrations, as well as evidence within Sunni narrations. From the Quran, it is mentioned to establish prayer at both ends of the day and in early part of the night. Both ends of the day are 2 times, and in the early part of the night is 1 time. The translation to this verse, called Sahih International, a well-known Sunni translation, explains this verse that both ends of the day refers to Fajr in one end and Dhuhr Asr in the other end, while Maghrib Isha is explained as early part of the night. So in total, we get 3 times with 5 prayers. In another chapter from the Quran, it states to observe prayer from the decline of sun until the darkness of the night, and then the dawn prayer. Decline of sun covers 2 prayers, Dhuhr and Asr, and darkness of the night also in Maghrib and Isha, while the dawn prayer is only Fajr. Sahih International Translation also mentions this in the footnote from Quran.com. So from a Quranic point of view, Shia Islam mentions that only 3 times is mentioned, not 5. In the Quran, there is no mentioning of 5 times. Shia Muslims also pray Fajr alone, Dhuhr Asr combined, and Maghrib Isha combined, based upon Shia narrations from Prophet Muhammad and his family. From the books of Sunni Islam, this concept is also found to be true. In one Sunni narration, it is stated that during the lifetime of the Prophet, they used to combine prayers. From this narration, it was a normal thing to do since it mentions that they used to. And the chapter heading from this narration is also stating that it was when not traveling. In another Sunni narration, it mentions that the Prophet combined the prayers with the explanation of not being in a state of fear or journey. From a third Sunni narration, we understand that nor was this practice done due to state of rain. Lastly, the Prophet in Sunni narrations gives more answers to why he combined the prayers, and it was because so his ummah would not be put to unnecessary hardship. Besides this evidence that states we should combine, as a Shia Muslim, it is not obligatory to pray Asr right after Dhuhr. One can delay Asr but must pray it within the time before Maghrib prayer starts, a good amount of time before the next prayer. So either a Shia Muslim combines, making it 3 times, or spreading it out so it becomes 5 times. Both are permissible within Shia school of thought. But because of following references provided here, the Shia Muslims used to, as soon as the sun declines and Dhuhr prayer is finished, they pray Asr right after without delaying. Same with Isha in relation to Maghrib, when Maghrib prayer is finished. It is also permissible to combine for Shia Islam based upon the fact that the Quran does not mention a time for Asr or Isha, meaning it doesn't mention in the Quran that the sun needs to decline more for Asr to start or for it to become darker for Isha prayer to take place. I have, as a Shia Muslim, tried delaying Asr from Dhuhr and Isha from Maghrib without praying them combined, and noticed the Sunni narration from the Prophet stating that unnecessary hardship may arise, as it did because we are often busy with many things in life, such as school, job, family, friends, and hobbies. So there is that risk of missing one of the prayers if we pray 5 times a day instead of what has been, at least according to the arguments from Shia Islam, prescribed as 3 times a day. I'm sure someone can relate to this hardship that occurs when spreading the prayers, but to be fair, it is an individual matter also. Now, all Muslims are obliged to fast in the holy month of Ramadan. Why do Shia Muslims break the fast later than sunset? Usually, a Shia Muslim breaks the fast 10 minutes up to 20 minutes after Sunni Muslims. What is the explanation to this? For Sunni Muslims, the breaking of fast is at sunset, meaning when the sun is on its way disappearing below the horizon, while for Shia Muslims, it is at night, meaning there is no sign of the sun at all below the horizon when it first becomes completely dark. Shia Islam provides evidence for this in the Quran that the breaking of fast should be when it is night. The word for night in Arabic in chapter 2, verse 187 is layl, which means night. Same word has been presented elsewhere in the Quran for it to be defined as night. For instance, in chapter 11, verse 114. According to Shia Islam, it cannot be referred to sunset because it would have been another word than the Arabic word layl. Also, the word sunset and night in itself have different definitions, not completely the same. For Sunni Islam, it is acknowledged that the word layl is mentioned for the breaking of fast in this verse, but they have translated the word to sunset, since according to Sunni narrations, it is mentioned that Muslims should break the fast as soon as possible, but also that the breaking of fast is at sunset, so the Sunni Muslims follows what has been stated in their narrations. Coming to the second last misconception, we as Shia Muslims do not worship the clay we prostrate on in prayer. Rather, we prostrate on the clay and not the carpet, because from both Shia and Sunni narrations, it is mentioned that the Prophet prostrated on natural elements, such as mud, clay, water, and palm tree. Within the Sunni narrations mentioned here, one of them is stating that the Prophet prayed on khumra, which is a carpet out of natural elements, palm tree. The only time the Prophet and those around him prostrated on artificial materials and not natural elements is when it was extremely hot. This is mentioned in Sahih Bukhari 1208. Within this narration, it is stated that if some of them could not put the face directly on earth because of the heat, then they put clothes to prostrate on. So even within this narration, as an alternative to use clothes to prostrate on, because of it being hot, it is mentioned that usually they did prostrate on natural elements. And it isn't that Shia Muslims perform prayer without a carpet. Rather, it is that a carpet is being used underneath the feet, as Sunni Muslims do. But we do not prostrate on the carpet. Rather, we put a stone-like material made up of mud and clay to prostrate on. It also isn't fair to state that we worship the clay we prostrate on, because likewise, it can be said that the carpet Sunni Muslims put their forehead on can also be seen as worshipping other than God. But that is not how either should be viewed. Besides all of this, for me as an approach to prayer, I would prostrate my forehead on natural element as a direct link with God, because the carpet, if I prostrate on it, it is artificially made by humans in comparison to earth, mud, water, palm tree, which is a direct link with God and such that God has made no humans in between in creating it. As for the last misconception, it is not true that all companions and wives of the Prophet are bad according to Shia Islam. For both Sunni Islam and Shia Islam, those around the Prophet were mainly his family members, the companions, and the wives. From Sunni Islam's perspective, if only a companion or a wife or a family member of the Prophet narrates from the Prophet, meaning if the narration up to Prophet Muhammad only consists of the Prophet in the chain with a wife or a companion or a family member of him, then it is considered a reliable source to take from. This means, from Sunni Islam's perspective, those who lived with the Prophet in the concept of being a companion or a family member or a wife are all good. Sunni Muslims do not differentiate between them, because according to Sunni Islam, they witnessed the life of the Prophet and were around him. From Shia Islam's perspective, the family members, the companions, and the wives are categorized as either good or not, meaning some are good and some are not. Only those God has chosen to represent his religion are fully trustable for Shia Islam. Those God has declared for us to follow are those we should turn to, so we do not go astray according to Shia Islam. So for instance, in the time of Prophet Muhammad, we should only turn to Prophet Muhammad as our guide. We do not turn to someone else in his presence, and after him it is those the Prophet has declared for us to adhere to that we should hold on to. The rest around the Prophet for Shia Islam are to be judged by God only in regard to if they will receive a paradise or not, which is not up to us to decide. Shia Islam uses this concept from the Quran that firstly it is God who decides who is good or bad, and also that those God chooses to rule or to be purified, we should only adhere to as fully trustable as they have direct link with God. This doesn't mean for Shia Islam that all other than the prophets, messengers, angels, imams, and successors are bad. Rather, those who are not chosen by God to represent his religion for the people can either be a follower of the religion or not. So in relation to Prophet Muhammad, Shia Islam states those around him, some are good and some are not. Shia Islam states that if someone has not been chosen as angels, prophets, purified ones, imams of mankind, or any other representative to the religion for mankind, then they are just normal human beings who can sin, so they can be either good or not. So for all companions, family members, wives of the Prophet, except those of them who has been chosen and purified to spread their religion further, can be described as either good or not, meaning we cannot say all are good or all are bad. But for Shia Islam, some are good around the Prophet and some are not. This is just like any Muslim in any era, either a follower of Islam in tongue, heart, and actions or not. Now, for me, according to Sunni Islam, it should be possible that a companion or a wife or a family member can deviate from the religion, because a standard within Sunni Islam is that all around the Prophet could do major sins. So it shouldn't be viewed as far-fetched to believe, according to Shia Islam, that some are good and some are not, which we will soon also with evidence show. A family member, a companion, or a wife, per definition, logically is not defined as only good. Those who live around someone can either be good or not. To witness a lifestyle and to be with someone according to Shia Islam does not mean righteousness or piety. A companion follows someone on a journey, but it doesn't mean that this person by this definition is good. A wife lives under the same roof but can act with evilness, and a family member can prioritize something else other than Islam, as all of these examples are in the Quran. The word companion in itself, Shia Islam states that it has been used in the Quran for both good and bad purposes. The term companion, which is Sahaba in Arabic, is used in the Quran either as good or not. For instance, in chapter 2, verse 81, the word companion is referred to in association with hell. In this verse, the word companion is not referring to anyone around the Prophet, but rather this verse focuses on the general term companion, and in this case, it is for bad purpose. In this verse, it is explained that people in general can be companions of the fire, but another verse states otherwise, that one can be companion of paradise. So the term in itself, Shia Islam explains, is used in the Quran as a neutral word, a balanced word, either good or not, and not just all good or all bad. We can also read in the Quran an example in which a disbelieving companion talked to a believing companion. So here we can understand that the word companion is not defined as righteousness. It is literally mentioned in this verse that a disbelieving companion spoke to a believing companion. In another chapter, Prophet Joseph sat with two men which he referred to as his companions of the prison, but it doesn't mean that they per this definition becomes righteous for this company with a prophet. Regarding being a wife of a prophet, history and Quran gives evidence that, for instance, Prophet Abraham's wife is righteous, but Prophet Lut's and Prophet Noah's wife to be in hell. So from an Islamic perspective, it is an individual matter, and not that all wives of a prophet are only good or only bad. A wife to a prophet is her own self and not the prophet himself, so it could be stated that if a prophet is good, it doesn't mean his wife is good. Shia Islam also gives the example of Prophet Muhammad's wives in the Quran, that God mentions for them, if they do good, they will have double reward, and if they do bad, they will get double punishment, meaning they can both do good and bad. Shia Islam states, since Prophet Muhammad's wives can sin, and since other prophets in the Quran is described to have wives that are not righteous, then we, according to Shia Islam, cannot judge all wives of the Prophet to be only good. Rather, it is an individual case. Some are good and some are not. Therefore, we should focus on a common goal within Sunni Islam and Shia Islam, and that is to believe that Prophet Muhammad is good. No Muslim can deny this. A married couple can be defined for the man to be evil, such as Pharaoh, and the wife to be good, such as his wife Asiya, which is also mentioned in the Quran in chapter 66, verse 11. And vice versa, can a husband be good and a wife not, such as in the case of Prophet Lut in regard to his wife. Now, history recalls for the companions of Prophet Moses and Prophet Jesus to have altered and changed their religion before the religion of Islam. All prophets in general, majority of their people were rebellious. For instance, only few embarked Prophet Noah's ark. The people of Prophet Abraham worshipped statues, and most of Prophet Jonah's people around him did not listen to their prophet. The people of Israel, namely Prophet Jacob, many of his people were corrupted, and some people even killed their prophets. It is mentioned in Surah 2, verse 61. For every time only few believed in their prophet's message, God himself mentions that only few of his servants are grateful within chapter 34, verse 13. So how can we be sure that all thousands of Prophet Muhammad's companions were all good? Shia Islam states, if every prophet that came to its people, their people, many of them were corrupted. Also specifically about Prophet Muhammad's companions in the Quran, they are categorized into three groups. Those among the companions who are good, those around the Prophet who were hypocrites, and those who God may forgive. The Quran also mentions that the companions of Prophet Muhammad fled wars, such as Battle of Uhud and Hunayn. To flee a war is to protect oneself rather than the Prophet and the religion, because the opposite is to stand there and protect the Prophet and the religion. To flee a war is to save oneself first, prioritizing oneself over God and his religion. Within the Battle of Hunayn, God mentions that many companions fled. How do we know it was many? It is because God refers to the companions in this verse with you, indicating great numbers fled, and not just some of you. The verses about the Battle of Hunain continues to state that those who stood with the Prophet not fleeing were categorized as believers, and for those who fled to be considered by God as such that He would forgive whom He wills. And by stating whom He wills, it doesn't necessarily mean all were forgiven. It could be all or it could be not, only God knows. Even if God forgave all at the Battle of Hunain, it doesn't mean that they would never sin again, because according to Sunni Islam, none are sinless around the Prophet, so the companions have sinned again after the incident at Battle of Hunain. Also, many of the previous Prophet's people time and time again asked for forgiveness, but still continued being corrupted. Now we can also read in the Quran that many of the companions of Prophet Muhammad rushed for business instead of listening to Prophet's lecture in chapter 62 verse 11. Only few stayed with the Prophet, as Sunni narration tells us for this verse in Sahih Muslim 863a. So Shia Islam mentions that we cannot say all are upon good, but we can state some are and some are not. According to Shia Islam, some are good and some are not, as it is the case around all previous prophets. Only the chosen ones, according to Shia Islam, that are going to lead the religion after is upon good for sure. The others are normal human beings in which are going to be judged by God to either a good afterlife or not. The Quran states also that the family member is not always good. Look at Prophet Joseph's brothers throughout chapter 12, or Prophet Adam's sons Qabil in relation to Habil trying to kill him. So in conclusion, for Shia Islam, it is as following regarding those around Prophet Muhammad. Some are good, some are not. And the chosen and purified ones God has given to mankind after Prophet Muhammad are the ones we should focus on after the Prophet. Now the proofs Shia Islam gives for those around the Prophet to be either good or not is within the Quran about those around previous prophets, those around Prophet Muhammad in the Quran, the word companion, wife, and family member being used in the Quran as balanced terms, meaning either good or bad, and the definition of each word is also to be defined as something else than righteousness or wickedness, but also evidence from history and narrations from both Sunni and Shia books. I, as a Shia Muslim, find this to be true rather than to believe all around the Prophet were perfect in the sense that they all are reliable. I take my religion only from each representative God has sent for mankind, from Prophet Adam until Imam Mahdi. For me, it is therefore true what Shia Islam states about the companions, wives, and family members of the Prophet, rather than Sunni Islam's statement about it that they are all good and that we do not differentiate between them. For Sunni Islam, it is the case that since the family members, companions, and wives of the Prophet have been with the Prophet for so long and close to him in terms of physical presence, then it must be that all are good. But with the mentioned evidence, and logically for me, it is that accompany someone, be wife of someone, or family member of someone, does not define goodness or its opposite in wickedness. If we apply this to our own life, we all have friends, family members, and wives, either good or not, even though they live with us. I'm sure everyone can relate to one situation in one's life that this is true. Now, for Sunni Muslims, the figures around the Prophet, especially the companions and wives of the Prophet, are close to the heart for them. It is a sensitive topic to talk about. It is the case that within Shia Islam, there are those who curse these figures in which Sunni Muslims love. I myself am a Shia Muslim and distance myself from those Shia Muslims who do this. Within all faiths, ideologies, and those who adhere to the laws of a country, there are two kinds of people: those who are good and follow according to what is prescribed, but also those who misrepresent what they adhere to, bringing mischief and oppression to others. Both Sunni Islam and Shia Islam have people who represent the religion incorrectly, but we cannot, based upon this state about the religion as a whole, that it is wrong. Rather, we should look into the Quran and the books of narrations to see that it isn't as those who misrepresent mentions. It is not wrong with God and His religion if someone in God's way do wrong. The consequence is upon the doer of an act, not God and His religion, as it is not the fault of Allah within a country if someone breaks it. From all faiths there are good people and bad people, and so people are good within Islam and not so good. Same goes with Christianity, atheism, and so forth. So the one who cursed those Sunni Muslims holds as dear to them is doing wrong according to Shia Islam, because the teachings of Shia Islam is about love, mercy, good mannerism, and respect, as this is mentioned in both the Quran from God and within the books of Shia Islam, narrations from the Prophet and his family. One of the Shia narrations I mentioned here, which can be looked into within closed captioning, the subtitle, so to speak, is stating from Imam Ali that someone is either a brother in faith or an equal in humanity. So for Shia Islam, the Sunni Muslims is considered as brothers, and any other faith than Islam is seen as an equal. This is just one Shia narration out of many talking about respect, being kind, and having mercy. So as there are Muslims misrepresenting Islam for non-Muslims to believe Islam is a religion to fear, there exist likewise those within Shia Islam who misrepresent the religion so that Sunni Muslims distance themselves. While if we look into the Shia books, we will understand Shia Islam as peaceful, as many of its followers also are. Islam as a whole and its followers is a peaceful religion, with majority of its followers being peaceful in comparison to the misunderstanding held by many non-Muslims. Such is the case also for Shia Islam. Everyone is responsible to search within Shia books for themselves to realize this. Therefore, the act of cursing in which one side of Shia Muslims do cannot be used as a premise that Shia Islam is wrong, since Shia Islam as a religion condemns this act in which many Shia Muslims follows accordingly, to not be disrespectful and hateful towards others. I myself am one of the Shia Muslims who adhere to the correct teachings of Shia Islam regarding this matter, but I can totally understand from a Sunni Muslim's perspective that they can't see Shia Islam as the correct religion of God when they have dealt with those who curse. But as mentioned, it is important to not let this analysis blind oneself, since the opposite of evil always exists within everything, and even good people within Islam is not a measurement for a truth, because someone who is not a Muslim can also be good. To find the truth, one should compare between each faith and use logic to determine which to adhere to, but also for one to confirm with God, to ask for guidance and signs. Now, as it is not part of Sunni Islam to bomb and act as terrorists, in which some in the name of Sunni Islam do, it is not part of Shia Islam to curse the figures Sunni Muslims love, in which some in the name of Shia Islam do. Now, within my analysis, I have not mocked or cursed or hated on any of those around the Prophet. My analysis only mentions what is not from my own words, but rather from what is being mentioned from the Quran, history, and the narrations from both books.